Kenya itasimama, Kenya itanawiri kwa umoja na uzalendo. Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo. Je, wewe? Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo daima. Leo hii tumekuja kuzungumzia mambo ibuka ambayo yanashughulikia masuala tofauti tofauti ya nchi. Na mwanzo ni vizuri kusema kwamba tunashukuru sana vijana wetu ambao wamejitokeza na kusema wako kadi, na ni wengi sana. Tulikuwa tunaona wengine walikuwa nafikiri kwamba wao peke yao ndio wanazungumzia mambo ya niko kadi, lakini tumeshukuru kuona vijana wakijitokeza wakisema pia wao niko kadi na Ruto, kwa sababu ya maendeleo mazuri zaidi ambayo yametendeka katika jamhuri yetu ya Kenya. Jana tulikuwa na Mheshimiwa Rais katika eneo la Murang'a, gatuzi la Murang'a, na huko watu wamesimama kabisa na chama cha UDA ambacho ni chama ambacho ni tawala, chama ambacho kina ufuasi mkubwa pasipokuwa na pingamizi zingine ambazo pengine wangeweza kusema. Ni chama ambacho kimefanya maendeleo, hata tukakuwa na mradi ule wa kule Njiris wa kuhakikisha kwamba tunatengeza madarasa 30 na pia maabara tofauti tofauti kama 6 hivyo, na pia kanisa la AIC Githumu. Maendeleo mengi kemkem ambayo yametendeka. Kwa hivyo wale ambao wanasema kwamba chama cha UDA kwamba hakina umaarufu katika Mlima Kenya, nafikiri tuwaambie kweli, sisi vile ambavyo tunajua, wale ambao ni wafuasi sugu wa Mheshimiwa William Ruto tuko wengi, na tutaendelea kukitetea hiki chama hichi chetu kwa sababu ndio chama cha kitaifa, na tutaendelea kukutana na watu wengi. Hata sasa hivi asubuhi kumekuwa na mkutano wa wengine hapa Starehe wa UDA, na tutaendelea hivyo mpaka mwisho tuhakikishe mambo yote yameweza kusimama imara. Jambo lingine ambalo pia tungependa kuzungumzia ni kwamba tumeona masuala ambayo yanakuja hapa ya vile ambavyo mambo yanaendelea kuwa hapo. Tunasisitizia kabisa, kama rais ameweza kustaafu, ni vizuri awache kwamba yule ambaye yupo afanye kazi yake inavyofaa, ili kuwe na umoja, kuwe na utangamano, na kama kuna mambo yote ambayo pengine yanatokea, basi kuna kuwa na mawasiliano. Na hilo ni jambo ambalo unaliona kabisa hata kule Marekani, wakati rais amestaafu, anakwenda kufanya kazi nyingine. Na leo asubuhi nilikuwa namfikiria yule Jimmy Carter ambaye alikuwa ameishi miaka mingi zaidi, na alipoacha uongozi yeye alienda kushughulikia watu, akaenda kujengea watu manyumba, akaenda kufanya mambo ya kuleta amani, na akaishi miaka mingi kuliko rais yote mwingine. Na hayo ndio mambo ambayo yanafaa kuwa wakati unapostaafu kuwa rais, na ndivyo mtiposa iwe ni kielelezo chema ambacho kipo katika jamii hii yetu ya Kenya. Pia ni vizuri tuseme kwamba uchaguzi ambao unakuja utakuwa kati ya wale ambao wanajihusisha na mambo ya kimaendeleo, na ndiposa tunaangalia zaidi kama hili swala la elimu, swala zima lote la elimu. Tunaona walimu wakijaribu kusema kwamba ati wanaongeza ada zingine za huku kando kando kwa sababu hawajapatiwa pesa na serikali. Hilo sio jambo ambalo tunafaa kulisikia kamwe, kwa sababu muhula uliopita tulipatiana pesa kabla watoto kuweza kuingia shule. Sasa hivi kabla watoto wajaingia shuleni tumetoa shilingi bilioni 23.4, 23.4 billion. Kwa hivyo mtu hafai kuwa anaenda anaweka pesa. Tunaona kuna shule fulani ambazo zimeweka ada nyingi sana. Kama pesa inafaa kuwa shilingi 50,000 inafika hata karibu shilingi 100,000. Hilo sio jambo ambalo tunafaa kuliona, kwa sababu wakati unafanya hiyo pesa haina uwajibikaji, na wazazi ndio wenyewe wanaumia. Kwa hivyo tunatoa ilani kama serikali kwamba hilo jambo likome. Pesa tayari zimeingia katika shule tofauti tofauti, na tumeweza kuorodhesha vile ambavyo zinafaa kutumika. Hilo ni jambo ambalo tunalisitizia. Kwa hivyo watu wasitumie hiyo ili kuwatapeli walimu, wazazi na watoto, na kuweza kufanya bei ya maisha iweze kuwa kubwa zaidi kwa sababu ya zile gharama ambazo zinajitokeza. Jambo lingine pia ambalo tungeweza kuzungumza kwa mukhtasari ni kwamba kuna hili jambo zima tu la maendeleo. Tumeona viongozi wengine ambao wameanza kusema kwamba hakuna maendeleo yale ambao maendeleo ambao wenyewe wameweza kuzunguka hii wikendi, wanakwenda huku wanasema hakuna maendeleo katika eneo hili, hatujaona chochote, tumeenda kilomita hizi zile na hatujaona zingine. Ni vizuri sana, kwa mfano tuseme kama eneo katika kaunti ya Kajiado. Kaunti ya Kajiado maendeleo yapo na yapo kwa wingi sana, kama ambavyo nitaweza kuorodhesha. Ukiangalia kwa mfano, kuna mpango wa Ardhi Water Ongata Rongai ambao ni mradi wa shilingi bilioni 1.2 ambao uko katika eneo bunge la kule Kajiado North, na tayari umekamilika na utasaidia watu zaidi ya 1,100 kupata maji. Ukienda upande wa Kitengela, kuna mradi wa shilingi milioni 200 huko ni Kajiado East, ambao unakaribia kabisa kumalizika na utasaidia watu 50,000 kupata maji. Ukienda pia mambo ya sewage na maji kule katika Tanadhi Water Ongata Rongai tenda na upande wa Kiserian Town, tuko na 1.1 billion mradi wa bilioni 1.1 ambao unaendelea sasa hivi. Kama ni mambo ya kilimo, kunyunyizia maji, kuna kule Rombo cluster ambapo ni ekari 5,000 za shilingi 221, lakini sasa hivi ulikuwa umekwama huu mradi, sasa umeweza kuanzishwa upya tena na Mheshimiwa Rais. Kuna pia mradi wa mifugo, kwa sababu hili ni eneo la mifugo, na NAVCO project ambayo inaendelea, NAVCDP project country inaendelea Kenya nzima na hata huku ndiko huko. Pia kuna upande ule mwingine wa Ilasit. Hii barabara ambayo imezungumziwa sana ya Ilasit imeanza upande wa Rombo, Njukini, Taveta, kilomita 42 kule Kajiado, na ni mradi wa shilingi bilioni 9.4 ambao unaendelea kule kwa 15% ambao unaendelea kule Kajiado, na ni vile tu kumekuwa na shida ya mvua lakini tunatumai katika mwezi huu wa Mei, unajua kuna mvua tunaita March, April, May ambao unaathiri, lakini tunaendelea kusonga. Kwa hivyo vile wengine wanasema huko haujaanza, sijui umeanza upande gani, tuko pale mbele, kwa sababu unaona some culvert pia zilipelekwa na maji na kadhalika, lakini tunahakikisha kwamba tunaendelea na mradi huu. Pia tuko na ile rehabilitation na upanuzi wa barabara ya Bomas kule Kiserian kwa shilingi bilioni 8.5 ambayo iko katika Kajiado North, ili tuweze kutoa hii jam ya pale ukikuja town. Hiyo bado inaendelea vizuri. Na pia Roro Isara Road Kajiado Central ambao sasa iko katika zabuni ya kiserikali procurement. Pia kuna barabara nyingine inaitwa Kitengela Tuala Road, barabara huko ambao pia iko bado katika zabuni, na kuna mambo mengi sana ambayo tumefanya, mambo ya masoko, mambo ya last mile connectivity katika maeneo bunge yote ya Kajiado. Tunaendelea kufanya hivyo. Kwa hivyo mtu yote ambaye anasema kwamba serikali haitimizi kile ambacho imeahidi na kuahidi wananchi kwamba wao ndio bora, tunawaambia hapana. Sisi tuko na rekodi yetu na tunajua hakika kwamba ifikapo mwaka wa 2027 ambao ni mwaka ujao, Wakenya wataweza kupiga tathmini na kuhakikisha kwamba wanaonyesha nini ambacho Wakenya wameweza kujipata kutokana na uongozi huu wa Mheshimiwa William Samoei Arap Ruto. Na hiyo ni mambo ambayo masuala ibuka ambayo pengine tungependa kuyazungumzia kwa uchache, ili tuhakikishe kwamba mambo yote tumeangazia kwa sababu ya vile ambavyo yako. The government is pleased to announce significant progress and reforms in various sectors aimed at ensuring that we have improved access at all levels of learning from education to university. These efforts also extend to teacher welfare, digital systems, and health protection, ensuring a holistic approach to education development. As part of its commitment to supporting learners in public institutions, the government has released Kenya shillings 23.4 billion in capitation funds to support learners in public schools. The funding helps ease the financial burden on families and allows schools to provide necessary learning materials and support co-curricular activities. Primary schools receive Kenya shillings 1,400 per learner. The National Treasury has been disbursing these funds to the Ministry of Education each term, following a 50-30-20 distribution ratio across 3 terms. For the current cycle, there are monies that have been allocated into account 1 for public primary schools for learning materials. We have money for textbooks, maintenance, for exercise books, for teacher guides and reference materials, and also for stationery. It is very well, broken down. We also have money released into account 2 to cover school operation costs. That is like support staff wages, classrooms and facility maintenance, school activities, local transport utilities like electricity and water, communication, environment, sanitation, and capacity building and board management meetings, contingencies, science and applied technology, and assessment and examination. So you can see quite a number of areas have been covered, in that regard. So anyone who is saying that our education system is not working, really, they are politicking. They are politicking with the system. And that's why we are saying all those hidden costs by teachers, by the head teachers, are wrong. Because if their reason for doing so is delayed capitation, disbursement, then it's already been done before even children and the students go to school. And yesterday, we visited several of them. We were at Rosho, boys, we were at Githumu, boys, we were also at Jiris. And all of them, even the teachers confirmed that they have actually been able to receive their funding for this academic year. So really, there's no reason whatsoever, because there's a very clear, disbursement 50-30-20, and so people are now able to plan with what we have. Of course, obviously, there is need to increase these resources depending on the availability of resources through Parliament. But as of now, there's no reason to say that you cannot budget with what is already being disbursed to the school. And it's also therefore important to look at NEMIS. NEMIS has got very good data for anyone who wants to verify what is being done, because the government has been very keen to remove ghost students. There have been these problems where we don't know exactly the number of students we have, in a school, because that's now what people are using, to rip off the taxpayer of money. And that is the challenge that has been there, but that has already been, dealt with the NEMIS program. For those who may want to know, NEMIS means the National Education Management Information System, that was launched as a successor to KEMIS. In the event that a school receives funds exceeding its allocation, they are also supposed to notify the principal secretary through the respective sub-county director of education to initiate the recovery process. Conversely, schools that are underfunded should also do the same. So if you're underfunded for whatever reason, then it is important to talk to the sub-county director, who then, of course, will compile and forward list of such schools to the PS. And that program is existing. So anyone who has an issue with that regard, please, that there is a way to follow. See your sub-county director of education, and the rest will follow. The government, since taking office, has hired, so many teachers. We promised 116,000 teachers. We've done already 100,000 teachers, and we have been able to build over 23,800 classrooms and counting. And of course, we are still reforming the curriculum-based education and training, and we are in the process, of course, of building 1,600 science laboratories and strengthening the grade 10 uptick. There are teething problems, yes, but we are on top of the game, and we are doing so. The same case also when you look at the new funding model. We are hearing people trying to make assertions about availability of funding, and clearly that is further than the truth. We've already been able to revise the fees, based on the MTI downward, and many people are paying very affordable fees. We are also in the process of building a 178,000 student bed, capacity, so that we are able to deal with the issue of shortage of hostels. And we continue to increase funding to the Higher Education Loans Board to support students financially with scholarships and reforms designed to help the vulnerable students so that they are able to remain in university and technical, TVET schools. When it comes to universal healthcare, we've had people trying to attack the Edu Afia, program and all of the issues that had been raised by the teacher unions. But the government has sat down with them and is pleased to announce significant progress made in the health sector through bold reforms and decisive actions in just 3 years. The government has expanded health insurance coverage from fewer than 8 million Kenyans to nearly 30.8 million under the Social Health Authority. Approximately 65% of our population currently have been registered, and so therefore they stand to access essential health services, a substantial improvement from 16% coverage under the defunct National Hospital Insurance Fund. It's doing better. We have been able to disburse over 280 billion shillings so far, and that is really commendable. And we must tell the government story, because if we don't tell the government story, fellow members of the state, somebody else is going to tell, there will be this misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. And that is why this office exists, so that we can come and speak, and you ask questions, and we're able to respond, and so that you're able to know what is happening. And so therefore, we have really improved from 16% coverage under NHIF to 65%. You can see that's a very huge increase over 49%, and that is extremely, admirable. Nothing like that has happened before. So the government remains committed to ensuring that every Kenyan benefits from quality and affordable healthcare. Further, the government is committed to transforming Kenya's education sector to meet the needs of today's economy and society, making sure every child and young person has a chance to succeed. The Social Health Authority, in partnership with the Ministry of Health and teachers' unions, have reached a significant agreement to improve medical coverage for nearly 350,000 public school teachers. This agreement eliminates core payments by removing system configurations that cause out-of-pocket expenses, ensuring that all contracted health facilities no longer charge teachers at the point of service. The agreement also expands healthcare benefits by providing access to specialized treatment abroad through selected hospitals in Turkey, India, and Saudi Arabia. Locally, this is very important. New services such as in vitro fertilization, IVF, have been added to better support teachers' health needs. And this is very critical, especially because of issues of people who may be facing challenges of infertility and getting children. Basically, let's put it across that way, getting children. So IVF now then becomes part of what can be paid for, because it's been extremely important, costing even up to 2 million shillings, depending on consultations. But now people are able to get that because there's a facility. There's a bill, of course, in the Senate, assisted reproduction, that is still being conversed about. And that's a very, groundbreaking, progress. A bill that was introduced initially by Millie Odhiambo and then Judy Sijeni, the former senator, also. But now it's still going on, so that we can resolve that matter once and for all. So this is very, very good news for those who are suffering in that category, because it has been something that has not been addressed before. In demonstrating ongoing commitment, SHA has cleared a backlog of 160 last expense claims, each valued at Kenya shillings 300,000, with payments set for disbursement promptly. To guarantee smooth implementation and continuous oversight, county-level committees comprising of SHA, the Teacher Service Commission, TSC, and union representatives will meet regularly to monitor service delivery and address any issues. Additionally, SHA is finalizing tariff negotiations with healthcare providers nationwide to standardize services and improve efficiency. This collaborative initiative highlights the government's dedication to supporting our educators by providing accessible, comprehensive, and quality healthcare. Let's now turn to the affordable housing program. I think you can see clearly, fellow Kenyans, ladies and gentlemen, members of the fourth state, Kenya is now a construction site. There is nowhere you will go you don't find affordable housing projects. Yesterday, there at Kangari Market, you can see a beautiful market, complete there, and with a sign Mama Mboga, a clear indication of the fact that we are keeping our promises as government. When we look at the 5 pillars of the better plan, affordable housing actually has made Kenya to become a best practice worldwide. Because we are celebrated. How do we fund, affordable housing? Over 9,000 people have already received their houses. 640,000 Kenyans have been able to get jobs. 273,000 houses constructed at different points and counting. And even if you look at the economic survey, actually it clearly says in 2025, the greatest sector growth is actually, construction, primarily because of affordable housing. So we remain firmly on course to achieve our target of 1 million jobs under this transformative national initiative. In fact, it is the desire of the government, by the time we go to the next elections, we have at least 4 or 5 million jobs created under the various programs of the Better Plan. That is our vision. That is our commitment. Because through this program, the government is not only building homes, but also reshaping urban development nationwide, making home ownership a reality for thousands of Kenyan people who would otherwise not have owned a decent home. And of course, we are doing away with the issue of slums. Currently, as I said earlier, 273,000 homes are under construction, with over 9,000 units completed and handed over to deserving families. The government is committed to inclusive growth within the affordable housing program, where nearly half of all workers of these sites are under age of 35. Women hold up to 30% of these jobs, and also there are persons with disabilities, whose target we want to make sure they are about 5%. Figures that exceed industrial norms and underscore our dedication to inclusion of the previously marginalized groups of people. Importantly, up to 60% of the workforce of each site is drawn from the host, county. I was there in Wajir, some few weeks ago, and you could find the locals there, very happy that they are getting opportunities to do, the new stadia and all of that. All of these programs for construction, the local community are the ones who are benefiting. Some of them who would not have gotten such jobs before. But also other Kenyans, the 40%, moving, you find somebody from Busia working in Wajir. Find somebody from Murang'a, from Nyeri, working in Wajir. That is a spirit of nationhood, because we must remain united as one indivisible people. Yes, we come from various ethnic communities, and that is true. God did not make a mistake to make 45 communities, even more maybe, out of us. But we must also agree that we are one nation, and we should be able to focus on that, because that is what is going to make us, to achieve our collective, prosperity. This approach allows wages to circulate within communities, supports thriving local businesses, and ensures that development benefits the people directly. The other program is the RPL, Recognition of Prior Learning. Over 5,000 artisans are already in the program, and 180 women have already been certified. Those who, of course, who don't have papers, but they have the experience. In construction, for example, you find somebody with a degree, but somebody who just an artisan knows a little bit more. That's why we want to certify them, because they know what it takes. They are more practical. These certifications provide access to formal contracts, higher wages, and opportunities in international labor markets, thereby enhancing livelihoods and professional growth. Let me turn our attention to economic growth. The government is pleased to report steady economic performance despite global uncertainties, and our gross domestic product has actually increased to over 17 trillion Kenya shillings, growing at 4.6%. And I saw some people trying to compare that. Remember, by the time we came to power, we were supposed to be defaulting. Some people were even predicting that we will not have an economy within 3 to 6 months. So we've actually been able to, to make sure that we have not fallen. Our credit rating has improved. And so therefore, anyone who is trying to compare growth, look at even the global average, about 3.6%. Ours, we are growing at around 4.6% currently, going forward. And inflation has actually moved, from 9.6 to 5.6 and counting. So really, and we've been able to strengthen our shilling, 129 to the dollar for almost 2 years. We have our foreign exchange reserves covering about 6 months, over 1.7 trillion Kenya shillings. And so therefore, we have a very robust macroeconomic stability environment. We have that. And that is why, for example, we have been able to have 7.2 million farmers already benefiting from the various programs. When we go to Mashinani, we are hearing people telling us now we are able to sell our coffee at 120 per kilo. I mean, there is transformation. And of course, the Nyota program that has been able to pipe 121,000 young entrepreneurs into the money economy. The money economy currently is at 65%. We still are pushing to make sure that we have as many people as possible. And of course, ensuring that 800,000 Kenyans, who are previously, not in the formal financial system, have been given some kind of skills, and 150,000 through the bridge facility under the Hustler Fund have also been able to given the keys to open doors to opportunity, enterprise, and financial inclusion. When you look at the overseas, program, we really have a very good labor export program. which is a very good labor strategy. Already now we have a new bilateral labor agreement with Canada, and we have had, people over 550,000, people have gone out there to work in programs such as Mkulima Maju, in Australia, Mhandisi Maju, Dereva Maju, in places like Qatar, Muguzi Maju, doctors, and Walimu Maju. So Kenyans are really giving us very good remittances. And of course, because of the issue of the financial, challenges, because of the war and all of that, so there have been some revision of growth. But it's not because of us, it's because of global markets. However, this is the greatest foreign exchange earner for our country. And therefore, we are trying to ensure that the State Department for Diaspora Affairs supports these Kenyans. That's why you saw the president recently, when he was in Italy, he was able to engage, the people there, and there were conversations, all of that, including what he said about English and everything, that. But also, something very good to report is that we have actually been able, through the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, we have been able to introduce a fiscal reform that cuts mission rental expenses. So the rents that we are paying for our embassies abroad by Kenya shillings 3 billion annually. So we've reduced that by 3 billion. This is a big, big win, because that money then can be used for other things. This is part of a broader strategy to improve efficiency and accountability. At the same time, the ministry has strengthened engagement with Kenyan diaspora by formalizing labor mobility agreements with various countries going forward. The government is committed to driving inclusive and sustainable development through reforms in education, health, housing, and economic growth. Significant progress has been made to improve access, quality, and opportunities for all Kenyans, with a focus on empowering youth, women, persons with disabilities, vulnerable groups. These efforts reflect the government's vision for a prosperous and competitive Kenya, where every citizen can thrive. Under the leadership of His Excellency President William Ruto, under the UDA party as a ruling party, the most popular party across the country, we call upon Kenyans to remain united and focused, because we have an agenda to deliver. We have an agenda to deliver, and it is extremely, extremely important that we do so. And the government remains committed to really respecting and supporting all of the leaders who have been there before. And let us work together to ensure that we move forward as a country, because this is our nation, and we will continue to defend it as it is. Kenya itainuka, Kenya itasimama, Kenya itanawiri kwa umoja na uzalendo. Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo. Je, wewe? Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo daima. Good. Now we can have questions. Right? Who's moderating?
Thanks so much. We will take the first 3 questions. You can lift your hand, and then we are going to pass over the mic. Number 1. Another person.
Haraka haraka, maswali tuendelee haraka haraka. Remember your media house and the question you want us to respond to.
Yeah, my name is Wamalwa from West TV.
Habari yako Wamalwa?
Nzuri sana.
Endelea.
Niko salama. Niko na maswali kama mawili hivi. Swali la kwanza ni kuhusu kazi Maju. Labda kulikuwa na Wakenya ambao walienda kazi Urusi. Labda kufikia sasa, what is the status of wale ambao labda walikuwa bado wako huko, na pengine serikali imefikia wapi kuhakikisha kwamba wote wamerejea ama wako salama? Swali la pili ni kuhusu ujenzi wa masoko. Tunaona serikali inajenga masoko katika kila kaunti na katika kila sehemu ya taifa. Lakini kabla ya hapo kulikuwa na mpango wa ujenzi wa viwanda, ama zilikuwa zinaitwa county aggregation parks, ambapo labda wananchi wa mashinani wangetumia hizo aggregation parks kuweza kufanya local manufacturing and value addition. Na sasa tumeona serikali haizungumzii hizo aggregation parks. Sasa serikali imeegemea katika ujenzi wa masoko. Pengine tuna priorities ziko vipi? Ujenzi wa masoko ambalo ni jukumu la serikali za county, na sasa serikali imechukua jukumu hilo na imewacha zile aggregation parks. Na nikimalizia, hivi majuzi tuliweza kupata kwamba ule ujenzi wa nyumba za nafuu, miradi mingi ya nyumba za nafuu inadaiwa kwamba imejengwa katika ardhi ambayo haina vyeti ama hati miliki. Labda kwa nini serikali iko mbio kujenga nyumba hizo pasipo kuhakikisha kwamba utaratibu mwafaka umeweza kufuatiliwa, kuhakikisha kwamba ardhi hiyo ambayo nyumba hizo zinajengwa isikuje kuleta utata baadaye, labda baada ya serikali kuondoka ama mtu aweze kuenda mahakamani na tayari pesa za mlipa ushuru zitakuwa zimetumika. Asante.
Asante sana. Next question.
Naam, mimi naitwa Millicent Kubai kutoka KBC.
Millicent?
Salama sana. Swali langu, najua hujazungumzia swala la mafuriko, lakini swali langu linalenga pale. Kwa nini hadi sasa serikali haijajifunza kutoka kwa matukio ya awali? Na je, labda kuna wale ambao wako serikalini wanafaidi na swala hili la majanga ndio maana hawataki kutafuta suluhu ya kudumu? Asante.
Asante sana Millicent Kubai. Mwingine? Leteni maswali bwana.
I'm Adan Ibrahim from KBC.
Yes, Adan.
Government has accused one principal, and we know most of the schools, they have increased the school fees. Why only that principal? Then what warning are you giving if you have already paid the capitation and then those teachers are continue increasing their school fees? What warning are you giving to those principals? Why only this principal that has been accused while others are doing the same?
Okay, thank you. Yes, any other question?
Yes. Vincent Afande from Radio Citizen
Habari
here.
yako Vincent?
Salama sana, nashukuru. Allow me to ask my question in English,
Okay.
because nimezoea Kiswahili. Still on the affordable housing, many questions still arise from the public. They demand to know, why should the government get public land, construct affordable housing on public land, sell the house to the public land after getting money from the public to construct the same house? Where does this money go? The money that the public get, the people buy these houses, does it go to consolidated fund, or who benefits from this money after the sale of the houses?
Thank you, Afande. Haya, tujibu hayo. Yes. Okay.
My name is Jeff from Live Nation 254. So
Your name is?
Jeff.
Jeff.
Yes.
Live Nation, okay.
Yes.
This is Muhoro people. Okay, go ahead.
So the issue that Fund is raising on there. So because there's a contradiction between the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics and the Ministry of Housing on creation of jobs in the affordable housing since 2023. Because the ministry is saying that they have created over 600,000. And the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics is saying 77,000. So maybe you can clear the air over that.
Thank you. I think let's respond to those questions, and then in case there is any other, we can always get back. Now, first and foremost is to say the issue of Kazi Maju program. The people who had gone to Russia and they were conscripted into the army, that is not a formal government engagement. It's good to be very clear on that. It's not a formal government engagement. And since then, there have been talks with the Prime Cabinet Secretary and the PS, where Russia and Kenya have agreed that Kenya is excluded for such programs. And already there is, Cabinet will pronounce itself very soon on that matter, because there are discussions that I will not disclose at this point in time to ensure that such does not happen again. However, any people that have any form of distress, we have diaspora welfare, systems that are through the embassies and the various consulates and high commissions to facilitate those that are in distress. And really, really we want to tell Kenyans once again, there are no jobs in Russia in that regard for Ukraine war and what have you. Please be careful and do not be duped to go and work there only to end up in such. If there are any form of jobs, there are proper contracts, and there are also agreements that can be verified through the National Employment Authority. That is our source of truth for this. So be very careful. And if you have any doubt, of course, you can also contact the State Department for Diaspora Affairs and the Ministry of Labor. However, this remains to be one of the most successful programs that is giving us over $5 billion in terms of remittances, the biggest foreign exchange and ahead of even our cash crops and our tourism. So yes, that is the position of the government. When it comes to the issue of KIPES, they're actually ongoing. If you look at, for example, the Kajiado County, we have a construction of a value addition warehouse, aggregation warehouse, perimeter wall, administration block, ablution block, pump house, powerhouse, and borehole. All of this at a cost of 487.5 million. Remember, the agreement was that we get 250 million from the national government and 250 from the county. It's a joint project. And there are quite a number of them that have succeeded quite well. If you look at the Sagana one, under the county government of Kirinyaga, about 18 of them that have been doing very well. So it's still ongoing under the State Department for Industry. And we'll be giving you more information, now that you're asking, more comprehensively. But we've not abandoned that because it's part of our industrialization project, because we need 20% of our GDP should be in manufacturing. And it has actually reduced to 9%. This is something that is worrying the government. So it is not really something that we would want to take it lightly, going forward. Value additions, you can see, for example, now there's very high demand for avocados. In fact, they become very expensive because they are going out there. You've even seen the issue of macadamia, the warnings that have been issued by the Ministry of Agriculture to ensure that people are able to pay as per what the government has already recommended. There are some few cartels sometimes who come in between, but we want to ensure that we value add here locally. We value add here locally so that we get the maximum benefits. Kwa mambo ya mafuriko, Millicent Kubai, tulikuwa tumetoa taarifa wiki iliyopita na tunasikitika kwamba kuna mama mmoja ambaye alipelekwa na maji akasombwa na maji upande huu wa Kasarani na akaweza kuaga. Hilo sio jambo zuri hata kidogo, na pia kuna barabara ambazo zilikuwa zimefungika. Mvua itaendelea kunyesha kwa sababu tumekuwa na hilo jambo kila mwezi wa 3, wa 4 na wa 5, na unaona ilianza mwezi wa Februari, na hata kipindi chetu cha Sema na Spokesbonga na Gava ambacho tunafanya kushirikiana na nyinyi, tulikuwa na mkurugenzi mkuu Samuel wiki iliyopita ili tuelezee Wakenya zile tahadhari ambazo zipo. Na pengine pia so that I can also add from what Aiden you're asking, the whole issue of disaster management. We now have a bill. It's already gone through mediation in Parliament, both National Assembly and Senate, and it is a 6th attempt to have a disaster risk management bill. When I was a member of Parliament, it was an issue. We were conversing with Sakaja, Mutula Kilonzo, Rachel Shebesh, and others, Tia Galgalo. We had a whole caucus on disaster risk reduction within the United Nations. But now we are very happy that soon this is going to be law, and it will also ensure that we have proper funding for disaster, and also disaster professionals are recruited into government so that it's not just ad hoc, going forward. So that is going to be addressed by legislation going forward. But we've learned our lessons. That's why you find in our budgeting process, we always have 5% for emergency, contingency, even in CDF and all of that. It's extremely important when that comes into it. Now, Fande, I think I need to answer you as follows. Look at the model in Singapore. We all want to Singapore. This is a revolving fund. It's a revolving fund that such that the money that you pay then will continuously go to build new houses for deserving Kenyans. Remember, every year we require 250,000 homes. The market is only able to provide 50,000 mortgages. But with this affordable housing, you can see we have 273,000. We still have the target of building 1 million houses in 10 years. That's quite ambitious. So therefore, we push forward. We push forward based on the realities. It's not monies that are going to to benefit individuals. It's for all Kenyans. And when you remove the cost of land, that's why public land is available for such reason, because public land is public land. It offsets the cost of affordability. That's why it's affordable housing. It is able to do away with costs, because if you factor in land costs, then you find it very, very, very hard to get it. And this is public land. That is what is called public land. It means that it is for the benefit of all of us. So it's not going to any particular individual like Maura. It's all of us, as long as you can apply. Over 600,000 people have been able to show interest against a house availability of 273. So clearly demonstrating that there is a very acute shortage of housing, going forward. And somebody was asking about the disparity between, the numbers between the KNBS and whatever has been declared by the State Department for housing. I will answer you as follows. First and foremost, the parameters used, are different between KNBS and the ministry, because the ministry has got more real data in terms of how we approximate one house per one job per house. The houses that have been created have been. You find like one single house will definitely have more than one jobs that have been created, because you have your carpenter there, you have your mason there, you have your plumber there, those are many jobs that have been created. There are many of them, and for sure, what is not in dispute is the fact that the construction industry is the greatest in terms of creation of jobs. So that is clear. And as I told you earlier, we have a program to ensure that we create 3-4 million jobs, in the short to medium term, so that we are able to lift millions of people out of poverty, as we had actually promised. So therefore, that's the point, and we'll continue to give you more information as we go forward. But the numbers remain. The jobs that have been created over and above, 640,000, 273,000 houses. Even if you have to do a simple calculation, a house will be able to give you at least 3 jobs, going forward. So that is what we need to look at, going forward. Also, I think I've answered all of the questions. Is there any? Which one is this? Oh, yes, about the principles. Is there another one? Yes. What title deed? I've clearly said that this is public land. And when you have public land, it is public. That is why when you have public land, it offsets the costs of the houses, so that it is more affordable. The program is affordable housing. So the land that you get is public land. That is why we are using public land to ensure that this house. Otherwise, if you factor in land costs, very few houses would be affordable. We are talking about houses that you pay owner-occupier, rent to own, or paying with that kind of thing, 3,900 shillings a month. The other house is 7,000 shillings. The most expensive is 21,000 per month, because we are targeting people who earn 50,000 shillings and below, because 3/4 of Kenyans earn that kind of money. So you see now, when government comes in to use public land for affordable housing, it's exactly to benefit those people who would otherwise have not been able to acquire land in prime places and therefore then own homes. So it's very progressive, actually. The titles are owned by the government, and that's why they're public land and going forward. And we are encouraging all of the public institutions to actually get their titles so that they are actually secure. The issue of principles, because you start from the head, Mr. Aden, when school fees is increased, obviously, the principal is the one who is executioner. He's the chief executive of the school with the board, and so they must be held responsible, because they're also the government employees under the Teacher Service Commission. Any other question? Please take the mic, so that because of our mkalimani. Where is the mic? Pass it on, so that the deaf people can also. Yes.
There was an issue between the Somali and the Wakamba. The leaders are saying that even before the 7 people that were buried, and the other day, CS Duale also says that the camels that were grazing the farms of Wakambani are still there. So meaning the government doesn't care what is going on there. So what's your take as a government? Because is that maybe kind of an intimidation between from the Somali people to Kamba?
I think your question is very suspicious, my friend. The position of the government is that we want peaceful coexistence amongst all communities. Those that are doing farming, those that are doing livestock keeping, the nomadic communities, the agricultural communities, and any other form of economic gain. Any disputes that arise shall be resolved. Of course, there are tensions. We even had similar tensions in Meru, and the government is on top of it. And we are trying our level best to ensure that we resolve this conflict. Remember, the issue of cattle rustling and banditry and all of that has been long and forthcoming. But we are trying our level best through the Ministry of Interior to ensure that we contain everything, together. So we do not want a situation where, there is incitement and people then take arms against each other. Because if we are to do so, my friend, Live Nation, Jeff, then all of us will be fighting. That's why we must maintain, decorum, and we must be cordial with one another, so that we are able to, have a peaceful and harmonious coexistence amongst all communities. And that is why we have national political parties like UDA that bring all communities together. Anyone who is promoting political parties that have got an ethnic, connotation, then really is a disservice to Kenya, because Project Kenya must work. We are all together. I don't think there's anyone who made a mistake, to be a Kenyan. No, we are all here, and we have to coexist and work together. And instead of seeing, our differences as stumbling blocks, we try to bring the best out of it. Like now, we have very good people who do very good, work. They are very well endowed in different fields, and we unite behind them. We unite behind what we are able to do as Kenyans. You see, Kenya is doing very well. There's a young man who just won some marathon in London, Sebastian Sawe, and man, he was very well generously, received by the president. 3 million. We promise every gold is 3 million, 5 million from the president himself, and other things, and also, the other young man also who won. So that's what we need to do. We need things that rally us together and see the bigger picture. Issues of competition for scarce resources, let us resolve them. That's where leadership is required. Thank you. Any other question?
A political question,
Yes.
if you allow me. Recently, the former president Uhuru Kenyatta has come under immense political attack from broad-based leadership. Is the government position that the former president cannot have a say on issues affecting Kenyans?
I think, let us put it very clearly. When you are in government, your work is to make sure that you deliver to Kenyans. The best practice globally is that former presidents and former leaders, when they retire, they become the sage, the elders who advise, who are involved in peacekeeping missions, who are able to rally the country together in moments of uncertainty. And a great example is Jimmy Carter. He retired, and instead of going to give speeches to the whole world, he actually went and started building houses through Habitat for Humanity. He took a hammer, without camera, without being seen in the limelight, and he was able to build many homes, including Habitat for Humanity works here, because I've worked with them before in projects in Homa Bay and others. I remember we were trying to construct 40 homes from there, and even some children's homes. So that is Jimmy Carter for you, and he lived the longest. And he started a peace mission where he was able to promote values of democracy, human rights, governance. So that is where you want to see. Look at even people like Barack Hussein Obama when he retired. He has the Obama African Institute, Obama Foundation, inspiring young people, to be greater leaders. That's the kind of thing that you see. But when you therefore then involve yourself in day-to-day politicking, then it becomes a bit difficult, because then who do we look up to? How do you rally the country together? It's also good to let go, so that the little day-to-day politics are done by the young and upcoming politicians, and then so that we can be able to move forward as a country. So it's not really a question of saying, oh, people do not have the right, but it's also that stature that comes with having been president. If you look at a country like Botswana, they have several former presidents. And they're very good, statesmen. People like Celeste Kama, Masisi and others. Some of them I've had the privilege of meeting them personally. So that is where you want to go as a country, going for. So that then it becomes an institution. It becomes an institution. That's why you find even in America, they get involved in presidential library programs so that you're able now to teach people. You get a university, like one of the former presidents got a university at the University of Pennsylvania. They were able to build their own library there. All of the artifacts and everything are there. So people can learn from that. And we can enumerate that, going forward. So it's just a matter of best practice. So that then also there is that, maintenance of respect, going forward. But then if then there is every person who retires from politics is able then to participate, then it becomes a question of contestation. The government, we remain committed to protecting retired, public servants, including presidents, so that then we have that decorum. But it's not good to start politicking and fighting the government of the day. We have had very good presidents like Mwai Kibaki. When he retired, and he would be consulted when that anything arose. He would be consulted. We didn't hear him saying, "Now I'm going back to my DP party. I am reviving it now. Come join." And no, really, it's good to accept when your time is up and let others lead, so that even when their time is up, they can also do the same, and then we have a good culture. Swali jingine leo nataka maswali kama kuna ingine. Yes. Uliza.
Yesterday we saw Murang'a Governor Irungu Kang'ata announcing that he is dumping the UDA party, although he has not announced which one. So is this, maybe what is your take? Is this a sign that the ruling party is losing or has lost grip on the mountain? Thank you.
Thank you very much. We were there yesterday in Murang'a, and I want to tell you without a doubt, with the president, we were there. The Mount Kenya region is, the UDA party is very strong. If you look at even the turnout of those people who have participated in the grassroots elections, 580,000 people came out to be elected as officials. That has never happened before in the history of this republic. And that's why I'm insisting that we need national political parties. UDA remains to be so. UDA has a very firm grip in the mountain. And if you want to doubt that, look at the Mbere by-election. Didn't UDA win? So when you say that UDA does not have, politicians are allowed to make their personal decisions. And that is allowed. But it does not necessarily mean in any way that the political party, UDA, it doesn't have, the political party remains strong and we continue to strengthen it. In any case, we are the founders. I am a founder of UDA, particularly even where I was running for in Roiro, constituency. So this is a party we invested in. And also, just to make it clear, we don't want a situation where we have political parties that die after every election. No. Political parties should be institutions so that they are able to carry the vision of the country forward. That is how democracies are strengthened. Like if you see America, we have Democrats and Republicans. If you look at UK, you have the Conservatives and Labour. That is the way you're able to make sure that the country is strong. Even imagine and strong democracies like India. So that you are able to have a form of predictability in terms of what you're doing. Same case with Ghana. Very strong, democracy, two parties, and they change over power. But every time we have new political parties every year, I think that's not true. And that's why I'm very happy that even if you look at the ratings, UDA still remains to be the strongest party, across the country and including the Mount Kenya region. Thank you very much. Asanteni sana, Mungu awabariki.